Interested in getting tickets to a concert or sporting event? Use SeatGeek and get $20 off on your next purchase with promo code OberSports. That's OberSports, OberSports. What's going on, guys? Jacob Ober here. So, before I begin, I'd just like to say I know this is a Wisconsin sports channel primarily, but I still do have opinions outside of Wisconsin sports, and I'd love to share those opinions with you guys. And this one in particular, I feel pretty strongly about, considering how much I care, about the history of the NFL and, especially quarterbacks. I mean, quarterbacks are just, they're my favorite position in sports. I love to watch quarterback highlights, and I love to watch great quarterbacks play the game of football. So, the question here is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer? He just announced his retirement after, 16 years, 15 years, something like that. And, you look at his final numbers, and you look at everything that Eli Manning has done in his career. I can understand both sides of the argument here, but the things that do it for me, first of all, the numbers, he's got almost 60,000 passing yards. He's got 366 touchdown passes. He's got 2 rings. Has any quarterback in the history of the NFL who's put up that kind of resume ever not gotten into the Hall of Fame? I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. And, I can understand the argument, it's like, was Eli Manning ever a top 5 quarterback? No, he was not. But it's really, really hard for me to look at what he's accomplished and say, this guy isn't a Hall of Famer. And I get that, a lot of people would say, oh, it's just the longevity. That's why he puts up these numbers. He's nothing more than a Vinny Testaverde that was starting for most of his career and won 2 rings. And, I kind of disagree with that because, see, this is where it really gets me. This is where, I can understand both sides of the argument, but this point here is really what makes me believe that Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer. So, I went to the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, back in 2016. That was before I had this channel, so I didn't get to vlog it for you guys or anything. But when I was there, I saw so many cool things, and, you got to see the Hall of Busts and everything like that, and it was just an amazing experience. But when I left that building, the feel that I got was that the Hall of Fame is there to tell the story of the NFL. If you go to the Hall of Fame and look at everything, look at the history of the NFL, and it's got so many, exhibits of different decades, different games, different plays, it's there to tell the story of the NFL. Can you tell the story of the NFL without mentioning Eli Manning's name? I don't think you can. And that's where it really gets me because, I mean, if you cannot tell the entire story of this league without mentioning Eli Manning's name, then to me he should be a Hall of Famer because he was, at the end of the day, played an important part in NFL history. Without Eli Manning, the Patriots go 19-0. Brady has 8 rings instead of 6. I mean, there's just so many things that would be different without what Eli Manning did. And, you add that to the fact that he won those 2 rings, and he won Super Bowl MVP in both of those games, and he has almost 60,000 passing yards, and he has 366 touchdowns, and he survived as a quarterback, starting the vast majority of his career for that long. I truly don't, I just can't look at that and say he's not a Hall of Famer. And, I can understand the argument that, oh, he was not a top 5 quarterback in his career. But, I mean, you look at other guys, it's like Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman is along for the ride with the Dallas Cowboys. You can look at his statistics. I don't think he was ever a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, was he? Look at his numbers. The guy never even threw for 3,500 yards in his career once. Never threw for 30 touchdowns in his career. Like, I mean, those are like things that you just assume great quarterbacks are able to do. And this is not like that this was just like some different era, I mean, he's got 1 more ring than Eli Manning, and his statistics are nowhere near as impressive as Eli Manning's. It's like this is a guy that was along for the ride. Troy Aikman was along for the ride, and yet people universally saw him as a Hall of Famer. Why? I don't know. You give Eli Manning, Emmitt Smith, that offensive line, Michael Irvin, that defense. You don't think Eli Manning wins 3 rings either? You look at another guy. Let's look at another guy, Terry Bradshaw. Was he ever a top 5 quarterback? Yeah, I know he won MVP that one year. I know that. But you look at his final numbers, two more touchdowns and interceptions, a 70 quarterback rating. That guy doesn't win his 4 rings without that all-time great NFL defense. And, God, it's just, I just truly think, you can't tell the story of the NFL without mentioning Eli Manning's name. And, you know, I'm not saying that, Bradshaw or Aikman are, bad quarterbacks and they don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. But if we're going to, compare them and hold them to the same standards, then by all means, I think Eli Manning should get in. And like I said, you can't tell the story without mentioning his name. So in my opinion, that's worthy of getting into the Hall of Fame. And you add that to his number of achievements in his career. He's thrown for 4,000 yards how many times? He has those 366 touchdowns. Sure, he threw a lot of interceptions, but so did Dan Marino and Brett Favre and Peyton Manning, too. Those guys threw plenty of interceptions. I mean, that's just my opinion on it, I think that Eli Manning deserves to be in the Hall of Fame because of that, and it's like his role, especially in those two Super Bowls, and especially the first one of the greatest upsets in sports history. And that's where Eli Manning's name is really mentioned. You can't tell the whole story without his name, and that's the reason why, because of that game, because of what he did in that game. He won Super Bowl MVP in that game because of his amazing heroics at the end of the game to upset the Patriots, and he was involved in the Manning to Tyree play. That is one of the top 3, top 2, maybe even top 1 plays in NFL history. I just cannot look at that. Look at everything he did in his career. Look at those 2 Super Bowls that he won. Look at that first Super Bowl especially that he won, and the plays that he made to get them to be champions that year and upset the Patriots, and say this guy is not a Hall of Famer. And I certainly don't think that he was, a truly, top 10 quarterback or anything like that, of course, but I think he's worthy of getting it. I truly believe that. So, anyways, guys, though, those are my thoughts on the situation. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'd also love to hear what you think about me doing videos like this, talking about opinions outside of the NFL, outside of Wisconsin sports specifically. So leave a comment in the comment section below. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at OberSports41512 and on Instagram username Jacob_Ober, and I'll see you guys next time. Go Pack, go.